On July 12th, 2021, an awakening began. We weren't looking for one, or maybe we were. Do you remember what it was like to wake up with your phone buzzing in your crotch? It just felt weird. As you walked down a hall, it felt like you were levitating. And getting to the bathroom, you realize that you're an adult and you just peed your pants. And where are your shoes? And why do I feel so confused? Later, you'd find out that you had a seizure. The MRI at the ER revealed that you had a tumor. In just a few days, you'd be undergoing surgery to get that thing out. It felt really weird. It's very confusing, and you weren't really sure what was going to happen. That was then, and this is now. I'm so proud of you for finally listening. Stepping into this evolution of you to make an impact. Maybe to help somebody else that was just like you, looking for hope, to figure out that there is hope everywhere. You're going to share your story now. And it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. Because out there somewhere, there's somebody listening to this that needs the same thing that you did. They just need somebody to show them that it's okay. So on today, the 2-year mark, after you were supposed to be dead in 7 months, you're sitting here all clear. You're taking all the things you've learned. You're going to package it up into this thing. You're doing really good. And I know this is crazy scary, but I truly believe you're going to help others. Welcome to the Power Up Project. Love, present me. I just want to welcome everybody to the first episode of the Power Up Project. My name is Jason Tharp, and I am on a mission. I truly believe that everybody is looking to be seen in life. I think that everybody goes through life, and we all think we're invisible. We think that the things that we experience or that we want to do, nobody else can understand. And that's not true. And my life, my story, and the things I want to share on this podcast, I hope that you look at them as you, not as me. What I want to do is I want to be able to share my story, that you can see inside of my story something that is related to you. And then you can see how I address that problem. And maybe that might help you address yours. See, I think that's my purpose in life. Is I was given this gift of a brain tumor to help people. And it wasn't just a brain tumor. And as you'll find as we go along episode by episode, there's many things in my life that I've had to overcome. I've been handed bags and bags of lemons and told over and over what was possible in my life. The craziest thing happens, though, is I never listen. And I always end up showing everybody that thought everything I was going to do was impossible. Somehow, I always made them possible. And this is what the point of this podcast is. I want to provide you all with the power up when you listen to each episode. And I define the power up as this. It's the action of turning your attention to your intention. What is it you want to do, and how are we going to get you there? What is it that you can see, and how do you act as if somebody that's already achieving that? And can you raise your awareness through that? You'll find that we follow these into different pillars, which we'll address later. But I want to dive into why we're launching this podcast today. So July 12th, 2021, I had a seizure, and like I said, and found out that I had a brain tumor, and not just any brain tumor, but a grade 4 glioblastoma. For you that don't know, that is it's a pretty shitty diagnosis. It's kind of like the king of kings when it comes to cancer. And surgery went fine. Everything seemed fine. I didn't really believe that anything was bad. That is one thing that has survived all of my negative talk that I've grown up with, was my optimism has always it's just thrived inside of me. But it was a day that changed everything, because no longer was I able to hide behind the mask of all the things that I had built in my life. It was really a matter of, this thing is real. Now I'm going to have to adjust everything. And I'm going to have to adjust everything because if I want to be here, I'm going to have to address all the stuff that I've been avoiding. And little did I know that that would actually be the greatest gift that's ever happened to me. And I would say for most everybody around me, is that they finally got to see the real me, the part that I've hidden from everybody because I was too afraid to show everybody what I wanted to be, because I always thought it wasn't good enough, or that I should shrink and I should never own who I was. And I allowed myself to be defined by that for so long that any thoughts of changing that was just crazy, because people like me don't do stuff like that. And so the funny kind of thing happens when you go through surgery like this. So I have surgery, it gets removed. It's all gone. So my surgeon assures me that he felt confident he got it all out. But you're kind of left in limbo. It's weird, because when you are, what I did know, and I didn't even know it was cancer at the time. What I did know was that they removed a tumor. That's pretty much what they left me with. And then fast forward 3 weeks later, and I'm still trying to figure out or find out what it is. And then I'm dealing with insurance, because Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield denies my coverage. Like, they denied my brain surgery and told me that I should have told them to wait and get a second opinion, which is crazy. But I don't want to bash the insurance companies, but that pause, that wait, it feels lonely, and it feels very just abstract. It's kind of like you're living your life, but you're not living your life. I think anybody that has been through anything really, really tough, traumatic event, they can understand exactly what I'm talking about. But it was this moment where everybody's coming, all my friends and well-wishers are coming in and saying all this stuff. Well, they got it all removed and it's all this, and you're still kind of going, because at the time, all I had to turn to was Dr. Google. And as we all know, Dr. Google is not your friend, and they will not tell you anything good. When I looked up high-grade glioma, which is what I was diagnosed with, there was nothing positive to see. It was all negative. And so you're living in this pause of your life. Like, literally everything stopped. People are coming, but it's like they're in a different space than you, and you hear the voices, but it's kind of like you have half earmuffs over your ears, and you can't get past them telling you that you had a tumor, because that's all that's playing inside my head. And then the day comes where I get the diagnosis. And that's why this day is important. That's why this is the launch day of this whole thing. On that day, I go into a doctor's office. And how it works in my situation is I'm going to have radiation and chemotherapy at the same time. I meet with my radiation oncologist, who's amazing, still is amazing. And then I'm going to go meet with my oncologist. Now, this is the doctor that's going to see me through my whole treatment, all the way through, till the end or whatever. And we still don't know what this thing is yet. And we find out, and in the finding out, they found out in front of me. So that to kind of paint the scene is, here's a new doctor coming in, sitting down with me, and find out right in front of me that what I have. And their first words are, "This isn't good." And they said stage 4, grade 4. It's called grade 4 in brain cancer terms, but it's what anybody knows about cancer, it's stage 4, same sort of idea, but they grade it in brain cancer. And for me, I was like, well, Rocky 4 is the best Rocky movie ever. And everybody knows that, which it is. I will argue with that forever. But it's the best Rocky movie ever. And Rocky was a fighter. And this doctor decides to, at that moment, rather than understand what I'm trying to do is cope. I'm trying to add levity to the situation of, you just told me that I'm going to be dead in 7 months. And I said, well, Rocky 4 is the best movie. They said, well, Sylvester Stallone's a bad actor. To which I just, as you could imagine, was like, Jesus, come on, like, give me a break. And then the next thing I know, they just keep kicking and kicking and kicking until they finally shake me enough where I can't handle anymore. And in that moment, asked a question that was just so stupid. Do you need me to step out of the room? And my response wasn't nice, and I don't need to repeat it, but basically it was like, get this over with, because you're enjoying this and I want to move on because I already knew at that point in time that this person would no longer be my doctor. And so we left, got everything set up. We're starting treatment. Now, I go to Ohio State James Cancer Center, which is an amazing place that I highly recommend for anybody going through this stuff. But my first day of treatment happened to be the day that they started breaking ground for the new hospital that they're building. The marketing along the walls talked about how amazing of a new cancer center this was going to be. And it was this odd sense of security that I felt that the hospital I'm going to is going to be this cutting edge place, even more so than they already are. But then there was the voice that picked up in the back of my head and it said, I wonder if I'll be alive to see it. So that became the mountain. That became the climb. Can I beat this thing? This became the impossible. Everybody told me that it couldn't be beaten because it's always going to come back and it's always going to be this and always stats. But here's the thing that nobody took into consideration. If they just would have asked a better question, they would have gotten to know me. They would have found out that my whole life I've been a storyteller. They would realize that while they were busy writing my ending, I was writing my beginning. I know for a fact so much can happen between once upon a time and the end. I also know that I can create worlds in my mind. If I can create worlds in my mind, I guarantee that I can externally control and create the world that I want to be in. But that's really hard when you have everybody else betting against you. And how do you go about that? Well, for me, what it was I turned back to what I knew. My whole life, everybody told me what was possible in my life. And I broke all of them. That became the foundation for it. I wasn't going to win this battle by trying to win the battle all at once, but I could win today, and I can win tomorrow, and I can win the next day, and those things will start snowballing. I can learn along the way and pick up pieces that are going to help me become the person that I want to be. I started asking myself questions like this. If I want to be a person that is in remission from brain cancer, what would they do? What would they act like? What would they do? What would they say? What would be the things? What would be the habits that they would do to get them there? And what can I undo for my life right now to get to that point? And I started acting as if I was that person. And slowly, over time, it was very uncomfortable at first. I started to discover that I think I can do this. And each day would show up. Started out first with meditating the right way before I would go through the motions. Started with addressing myself, accepting that I lied to myself for a long time, and starting to tell myself different stories. And then just really, really believing that I could do this. So yesterday was results of the latest MRI. And we came around that corner on 315, which is where for those of you who don't know, I'm talking like you all know where 315 is. But anyway, 315 is a highway in Columbus. And it's also where the medical center is. And as we come around the bend, I see the hospital, the one that was just breaking ground that I wasn't sure I was going to see. And it's all glassed up. And they're really close to opening it up. And I'm still here. Now, here's the cool part, though. That is cool. I mean, that I'm here. But I never would have thought that I would like myself so much. And trust me, I've spent a crazy amount of time asking myself, why did it take a brain tumor? Because I'm essentially the same person. The only thing that's changed is really time and my belief in myself. I stopped believing my lies and I started to live the life that I wanted to live by addressing all this stuff that I was afraid to address. And I think that's what a lot of us go through. I think that what we see is we see our fears and we see this movie playing in our head and we get so afraid of the projections on that screen that we don't even realize that the projections on our screen are projections from other people. It's other people's belief in who you can be. It's other people's things that they've always said to you. It's other people's ideas of what is possible for you. But there's one missing element that changes all of that, is your awareness that what everybody else has to say about you is not your future. Because you have the ability to change everything that's on that screen by understanding that their problem, their projections to you are all based on what they know, not on what you know. Stop thinking that everybody else knows something about you that you don't. There is only one expert on you, and it's you. You can avoid it all you want. You can turn to all the gurus. You can turn to all the books. You can do all that stuff. But I promise you, don't wait for a brain tumor or whatever it is for you to wake up to your life. Nobody's going to come waltzing in and change it for you. Nobody's going to come in and give you the magic pill that's going to make everything better. But it's up to you to understand that you're worth it. All the effort that you're putting into everybody else's noise, put it into your own noise for a second and see what can happen. Now, I know that you don't know me and we're just starting this thing out, but I want to extend the power up to you. I want you to understand that I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to feel lost. But you're doing okay. You're just being human. Mistakes are all part of it. You're not a mistake because you've made mistakes. You aren't deserving less than the person next to you. You're only deserving of what you're allowing yourself to be. And if you open that door, you'll find that the version of you that you've been looking for, it's been there all along. Hope this helps. Power up.
Boxland Media. Think big.